So we have the plan is to offer you this, and it's all graphic. We're gonna be doing all of this work with the graphic components, the graphic technology that there is right now with the offered by the softwares is to offer you this possibility. Throughout the years at DDP, I'm sorry, I'm having a technical thing with these arrows. We have developed what we call an design process. For most clients, I have clients who are architects, I have clients who are engineers, but then we also have doctors, we have people from accounting background, people from all kinds of backgrounds, lawyers who have never read a floor plan. The story of many people in the United States or North America is they live in different places, but they never built a house from zero, right? So we standardize this process so the client gets to understand the land, gets to understand what the deliverables are, and we set the expectations in terms of the design process. So this design process starts with the OPR. The OPR is the owner project requirements. Basically, what you do here is we send you a client questionnaire. In this client questionnaire, you fill out all the form with personal information, financial information. So you set the goal for the project. You say, okay, we have X amount of dollars to do this project. And based on the site, the possibilities that the topography, the conditions, the view, the access of the site allows in the architect's input, we can come up with a concept. The idea is to develop a concept that is going to be actually built. It's not like we're going to come up with a beautiful design that you cannot afford. So by setting this goal at the OPR, we are going to start working and deliver a conceptual design that is going to be effective in the future. Before I forget to say it, this is just planning. It doesn't mean you have to build at any time. This is the idea of this design process is to help you understand the lot of the property that you have, what are the possibilities with the property, and what's the cost. Even though you're not ready to build right now, maybe in 5, 6 years, it's going to be 500, it's going to be 600, it's going to be 250. What's going to be the cost to develop it? Should we shrink the house? Should we enlarge the house? All of that only with the design process because we're going to do this accurately. So the first thing we have to do is a site analysis. We have to understand what's the view, what's the pattern or the airflow in the locations where we are in Costa Rica. This is the most, besides the view, this is the second most important element, and it's the prevailing winds, the cross ventilation. Because if you don't rotate the house, considering the airflow, you're gonna lose the opportunity of a free asset that otherwise you have to keep paying for air conditioning, right? So this is to give you a little bit of background. Costa Rica doesn't have like something we call like Costa Rican architecture. Like there is Mexican architecture, for instance. The first graduated architects in Costa Rica were the first promotion was in 1980. Previous to that, School of Architects in Costa Rica, all families send their kids to study architecture in Mexico. So that's why in Costa Rica you have this hacienda look. Those houses from the early 80s, late 70s have this hacienda look, and they didn't understand the weather. They didn't have the openings. They were not intended for the high humidity we have, for the overhangs that we needed to, because you can have beautiful glass facades, facing west to look at the ocean and look at the sunsets. But in reality, those huge glass facades are a greenhouse at 4 p.m. They turn your house inside into a greenhouse, and you have no way to escape from that. And there's the continuous need to have AC in the house, and with the humidity, all the glass is melting. So you are trapped in your house and you cannot see anything outside. You cannot see through the window. So we've learned how do we overcome that greenhouse effect. On the other thing is, many of you will have houses that you're not gonna live here full time, or even if you live here full time, you want to go back to the United States for a month or two, and the house it's gonna get locked. So, well, you need this house to breathe because otherwise, when you come back, everything is gonna be destroyed and full of mold buildups. So these openings, I mean, I'm teaching you all of this because we've been learning through, it's called learning by doing. It's been 18 years. We've been trying at VDP with the design team. We've been trying to understand these conditions and adapting our designs to the conditions of south of the tropical environment. Our lead architect right now, Maria Soto. Maria has a master's degree in tropical design, and I understand pretty well microclimatic landscape design. So between she and I, we work in, sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit of the view and put some palm trees to help cooling the house. So that's you know, part of this design, the success of designing a property is you have to compromise a little bit of the view, to get some shade in the house, to make the house blend in the surroundings with some tall elements. It's not like you have the house alone in the property sticking up like what do you call that? Uh, let me see, let me find the word, like a landmark. You have to blend it in the surroundings. There's going to be many, many houses. So everybody has to nestle in the environment. So this is what I have to say. We understand where the ocean, we have the views, we have the airflow, then we have the topography. How is it that we're going to do the driveway? What's going to be the slope of the driveway? What's going to be, are we going to have enough room for a turnaround? How many cars? Are you going to have a one-car garage, or you need two-car garage? I mean, we don't have garages here. We have carports, two-car carports. Do we have room for that? I mean, those are all the considerations when it comes to site analysis. Now, site planning. We took this property in Ojochal as an example of what we do. This is raw land as our clients bought it back in 2017. And these are the contour lines. This is the plot map. We send our surveyor, and he gets us the contour lines, which is basically a representation of the shape of the land. And it gives us the green square is the light green square or rectangle, it's the property. And we still go through to understand what's the relationship between the property and the adjacent properties. We have to understand that, right? We need to see what, if we have water coming from the adjacent property, are we sending water down to the next one? We have to understand the entire environment, the relationship with the road and the difference in elevation between the road and the main plateau, the building plateau. So we'll send you, some people can read this, but the reality is most can read this. It's a 3D rendering with showing the shape of the land. So then, speaking with Linda and Dave, they didn't want to back up. They say, Christian, we don't like backing up in our driveway. We would like to have a semicircular driveway. So we had to find a way to cut the plateau we had in order to get their house positioned in the property. We have two slopes because theirs is coming down. We're cutting down in order to create the plateau. So we have um, we have slopes on both sides, and we created this semicircular driveway. This is the site plan in 2D, and basically this is in 3D. So they wanted extra parking for a side by side. So that's why you see a retaining wall there that then became a parking space. So this is, you can see the slopes on both sides, because that's the final grade on the adjacent properties, which we cannot touch. We have to work within the property, and then semicircular driveway. Now the architect delivers the 2D a floor plan for the house. This is how the house uh, was placed on the property, and if you can see, it's kind of like diagonal. And this diagonal, this angle, it's dictated by the airflow. In the past, houses were just aligned to the road. They'll just put the houses and putting the front door and making everything parallel to the road. We're working differently right now. We are putting all houses aligned to the airflow. And that's why I took this example, because this is a kind of a complicated scenario where we had to twist the architecture in order to provide the flow and the view, the desired view and desired flow. There is a balance between the two. So this is the 2D plan, and this is how the house sits in the lot. You can see. Okay, now we're going to talk about the house conceptual design. This is up to here. We have site planning. Now this is house conceptual design, so that you'll get cross sections of the how the house. You can see there's steps. We have the level of the carport, and then steps coming up to the living room, the living area, and then you have the pool. This is a floor plan showing the layout of the house, the floor plan of the house. You have two bedrooms, living area. You have what we call right now, which is very, I don't know if the word is trendy, but it's very common to have a great room where kitchen, living room, and dining room are all together. And from the kitchen, you can be cooking in the island and you can face in the ocean, or if you have outdoor activities, you're part of it. It's not like the classical design when the kitchen was separated from the house, and then you were cooking, but you were alone cooking and prepping for the guests. This is It's all integrated, and the houses right now have two wings for privacy. You have the master bedroom, and across the hallway, across the great room, the living area, you have the other bedrooms, either one or two, depending on the floor and the size of the house. These are 3D renderings. We'll send you 3D renderings of, we with the technology today, we can take a photo and we can put it loaded in the software and say, okay, this is what the house is. This is the view from the master bedroom, the view from the living room, the view from anywhere in the house. We can do that. That's simple. And these are renderings showing what the bathroom is going to be. You can tell me, Christian, we'll like the stain for the wood to be mahogany, so we load it in the software. If you come here and you show, eventually you'll come here halfway of the construction process, you'll see pick up a tile and we can load it in the software so you can see what it looks like in reality, right? It's all software. It's all, with the new nowadays. This is nothing. This is not Dubai's technology. This is Costa Rica's technology. It's very easy. And this is what the house looks like now that it's built. It has a lot of everything that you see here is part of the standard process of construction. We have wooden, solid wood cabinets, custom designed kitchens, and sliding doors, and everything is, see, Linda, which is the owner of this house. She decided to have gypsum ceilings in the outside, and then the inside of the house, it's mostly thick ceilings. This is a photo of the 3D It's comparison of the 3D rendering and the real. On the left, you have the 3D rendering, and on the right, you have the finished house. That's Speaking of airflow, before I forget it, if you look at in both images, on top of the doors, the sliding doors, we have this jealousy windows. You see the clerestory windows at the top?
Yes.
That's for airflow. So they go from Linda and David, the owners of this house, they go to Washington, D.C., Washington State for months of the year to see family. And these windows remain open so the house breathes. It takes all the hot air and makes the inside of the house super, super cool. Okay, if you say, Christian, this, I don't think I'm ready to design a house. I don't feel confident. I don't have the energy. I don't have the ideas. I'm not happy, whatever reason. You don't want to deal with designing your own house. You cannot imagine. We have custom homes. We have model homes. That's about custom homes. This is, I'm going to show you some of the houses that we have built. Sorry, this is a house in phase 11. So you see the openings, all of them have the openings. This is the gardens and the entry door. This is the pool. You can design a pool the way you want. It can be rectangular, it can be organic, it can be circular, semicircular. It's not, this is standard construction. You can choose your tiles, you can design your cabinets. This is a more modern approach. This house has this vine here is an opening for airflow. This is part of the landscaping. I'm not selling landscaping to you, but it's nice to see a nice landscaping. This is if you need a landscaper, there's someone here that I know. So that's just photos of, we can work with different designs, right? It doesn't have to be. This is a house with very little ocean view. The clients didn't want a property with a magnificent ocean view. They just cared about making the house more intimate. They like the project. Actually, the name of this project is Exuberance of Green. It's more like a jungle house. This is a face. This is in Chontales. This is the first house we built in Chontales back in 2013. This is a contemporary colonial style. You see more of the round, the arches, and that's kind of the style of the house. It's 3,600 square feet house, and this is the pool side. We have pool, it's on deck and a privacy wall. There's another house in Chontales with a lot of outdoor space. The owners of this house, they loved entertaining. So there's room for band and, a lot of, this is what you have in Chontales. Maybe you don't know, but there are some fancy houses there, people with some taste. You know, these are very cool outdoor spaces. This is what it looks. It's we offer, we have standard projects, but then, if someone wants have the time and have the patience and the dedication, we can work together and working on, the very to the very, what's the word? To the very last detail of the project, inside and outside, indoors and outdoors. Our interior design team and myself in the landscape design, we can come up with beautiful outdoor lighting, beautiful hardscapes, pool designs. This is a house in, sorry, but I've been having a cough. This is a house in Paseo Lapas, which is another project, small project we have in Chontales. It's a 2,800 square feet house. It's a more simple design, simpler lines. This is another house in Hochal. It makes people will, love outdoor spaces. Living in Costa Rica is all about outdoor living, to be quite frank. That's why it's this whole thing of the outdoor covered terraces and the sliding glasses or folding glass doors, all of that to you open that and you create a huge space between, the great room inside and the covered terraces. This is this is something you have to understand when you talk to an architect in Costa Rica. If I die, remember that, right? You must the person must understand what is to live in the tropics. So you need the overhang, you need the covered terrace, you need the a lot of glass, covered glass, so you can see through inside and outside. It brings a lot of light inside, and it makes the spaces look bigger. Okay, like I said, if you say if you're not ready to design a house, and if you say, I don't have the time and the patience to deal with the house. You can choose from our selection of motorhomes. We have Bromelia, which is a house that integrates all the elements I just told you about, airflow and views and covered terraces. This is a 2,000, almost 2,100 square feet house. And this is the layout. It's three bedrooms, three bathrooms. And we built some of this already. So you can come and take a look at these houses and say, okay, so you don't have to guess what's going to look like. All of them have been built. And we have several options. Everything is with clean lines and outdoor spaces, covered terraces. They all integrate the same. If any one of you wants to see this, I can forward you these designs. It's not We have Dahlia. This is a very popular house. We have built six or I think it's six or seven of these in the past. This is 1,600 square feet house. It has three bedrooms. There's another option with two bedrooms. For all of them, we have built them. The ones we have built, they are all three bedrooms, and they have this house has two bathrooms, and it's a very good layout. People like it a lot because it's not too big and it fits in most of the properties. Then we have hibiscus. This is a almost 1,300 square feet house with small pool. It has two bedrooms. Here for some, we're building this one. We're building this one for your neighbor Gary for what's her name? For,
Carolyn.
yeah, Caroline Crunk. Yeah, she
Yes,
signed a contract and we're building a house, one of these
great.
for her.
But where's the red roof?
No, not here. This is just the layout. We don't have, you don't see the red roof here, but it's there.
It should be a green roof, Christian.
Yeah, I don't know what color she's. I think the by laws in Vientos del Sur it should be red. I think I'm not
The
sure.
law, the law should change.
Yeah. Okay, this is the other model. We have Lotus, which is a we're bringing smaller size. This is a 1,100 square feet house with three bedrooms. You can get what you do is you just shrink the bedrooms, right? The more square footage you have, the wider the path, the hallways, the bigger the rooms. But in general, from an anthropometric, from a human size standpoint, they are just good for transit and comfortable to sleep in. But you know, more room, you have room for walking closets, you have room for a lot more things, right? And here it's so how all of that is possible. I wanted to tell you this. We have many of you, okay, have properties. You went through the part of this process, right, Lucio, already?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
we start with the lot clearing because many
right.
many of the properties are cleared once a year only, so they don't go back to jungle. And
Mhm.
we have to get the lot cleared down to the ground so we can get the surveyor to do their topographical survey. So we need it so we can get the control lines. With the control lines in hand, we design the grading plan, the cross sections, the 3D renderings that I just showed you as part of the design process. And finally, the architects design the floor plans. We have the 3D renderings, and this is a very conceptual phase. This is part of if you eventually say, we would like to build a house, that's a, the, those are the blueprints. So we get these drawings, which are done to scale, and we start doing the blueprints. The blueprints is the architectural plans, the electrical plans, mechanical plans, structural, all of that. And but that's different stage. In any case, the most important part is conceptualizing the house. What's the sense of space? As part of this process, we send you home the measurements of the plan that we're working on. You take a measuring tape inside your house. Okay, we send you, for instance, a bathroom that is 5 feet by 10 feet, a dimension. So you take the measurement and you compare it with what you have in your house. So that gives you time. And the idea is not to we have a lot of people who are kind of in a rush and we want to kind of give it more thought, more time to give more time to our clients to make these decisions with time and more wisely. That's the whole intention of what I'm offering you here, giving you that opportunity. Is any one of you considering to build anytime soon?
Well, it depends on. I have some questions at the end, but I'll wait.
Okay. But I haven't. This process is part of any construction process, any design process or construction process. I mean, there's nothing here that it's not going to be needed. You need a topographical survey because the topographical survey shows the insurance companies where the land original plan is, and that way they can insure, they can make sure that the house was built in solid ground and not in backfill. So you have to have that topographical survey. The site plan is part of it's necessary for the College of Engineers and Architects, so they understand what the modification of the control lines, the stability of the land, and there's a lot of technical criteria that has to be involved as part of the site plan. And the floor plan obviously is part of the architectural design. But at this stage, I'm just telling you, I have to tell you, because we have to put our team to work on this. I mean, there's an expense associated related to this, but it's part of any process in the future. Basically, all you do is just have the time to think in more detail about what this is. So in Costa Rica, or in our company, this is a 6,100 dollars for this entire process for the conceptual design, which is fair. This is just to pay the architects, the team, and everybody's time. And because, we cannot have them work for free. We have to pay our teams, but it's in your benefit, right? That's a presentation on the design package.